Hey guys, it is MissSimReno. If you are returning to the channel, welcome back. And if you're brand new, I am very excited that you decided to join me here today for another speed build. And today we are building a ramen restaurant with an apartment above it, actually a 2-story apartment above it. And I'm really looking forward to you guys seeing this one because I do not build in Mount Como enough. This world is beautiful. And for the screenshots, you're going to see it in fall because it is fall and I kind of want to do a little bit more of like fall builds. I want to do more fall builds. I've only done, I think, 2 so far. I also have a spooky build that's coming up. Maybe I'll have 2 by the time we reach the end of October. I really don't know. But what my thought was, because I didn't really have any ideas for specific fall builds, I didn't really want to do like a fall festival grounds or something. I know that sounds exciting, but I just didn't have any ideas. So I thought to myself, why don't I just do a build in different worlds, maybe each week, like trying to do that. I don't know how I'm going to maintain that. We're already like a week into October, but anyway, trying to just build in different worlds in fall. And Mount Como is so underrated in the fall. It is beautiful. The trees, just everything look so nice. And that is what we're doing. We're building Mount Como. We're going to build this little ramen noodle shop. And the apartment is 2 stories, like I mentioned, and I'm thinking that the family that owns the little noodle shop lives in the apartment upstairs. And this was a really fun build to do. It took me not as long as I anticipated, actually. It was a pretty simplistic build in the structure itself, but I was perusing Google Images to try to find something, and I just knew that I wanted to make like a Japanese storefront of some kind. And I found these 2 reference images, which I will put on screen for you right now, one after the other, so you can check them out. But these are kind of what I was working off of. I just added an additional story to make the apartment a little bit bigger, just because the proportions in The Sims are a little bit off. I knew I wasn't going to be able to fit a bedroom, a bathroom, living space, and kitchen, at least not the way that I wanted to on one single story. So I added a 3rd story with a little balcony, and I thought that that looked really cute. And I also knew that I wanted the family that lived here and owned this little noodle shop to have their own outdoor space separate from the restaurant. Now, of course, it's going to be attached because everything's attached. But this little patioed area over here where I'm placing the ivy, this ends up being theirs exclusively. At least that's what the thought was. So they have a little garden in there. They also have a little like Zen garden too under the stairs. Very small, nothing big, nothing fancy. They also have a chess table and a few gardening plots and things like that just to kind of grow their ingredients that they include and that they use in their restaurant for all of their recipes, which I thought was a really nice idea. Now, if you are going to use this and like plop this down in your game, if you want your Sims to live here, it still has to be a restaurant lot. If you want it to function as a restaurant, it has to be a restaurant. So when I upload this to the gallery, that is the lot type that it'll be. But what you can do then is you can lock the gate that goes to that little side patio, as well as the door that goes to the apartment for, I think everyone but household members would probably be the best way to do it. That's how I kind of play tested it. And that way it'll keep out any patrons of the restaurant, any employees, and it'll leave it exclusive to the household members that own the restaurant. Now, if you are playing with Sims that do not own the restaurant, I don't really know how that's going to work. It'll still function as a restaurant, but I just don't know if it's going to, I don't know if you can set any locks on the doors and stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really know, but the thought was that your Sims could stay here as long as they possibly wanted to if they were running a restaurant, because unfortunately, in The Sims 4, you cannot live on a restaurant lot. Like it won't be counted as a residential/restaurant lot. It's a little bit disappointing. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a little bit disappointing because I think that would be such a cool addition. Like if we could have multi-purpose lots that were actually recognized for the different purposes that they serve. I don't know. That was really a mouthful. And I just had my morning coffee and I also just had breakfast. So if you hear any like throat gargles, please just ignore them. Don't make fun of me. I'm having a great day. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm having a really good day. But anyway, we are decorating the outside just with a few different signs and just some different like street decorations, like taking these light poles and the electric poles here as well, just trying to make it look a little bit more ingrained with the city and the neighborhood rather than it being more suburban, I guess, because it really isn't. But I also didn't go absolutely nuts with the decorations. I wanted to make it look colorful and inviting and fun, but nothing overwhelming. So there are the 2 tables out here, like I mentioned, and the little chef station is actually open to the outside. So the waiters or waitresses or waiting people, I should say, the wait staff, they can just grab your meals there and bring them all around wherever you may or may not be sitting. And I don't know. I kind of had this thought where maybe I could have placed a bar height table underneath the chef station for more seating, but I had the worry that that was going to block the wait staff from being able to pick up the meals. So I didn't do that, but you could always play test it if you wanted to. And I talked all the way through. This is the little like gardening area for the family that lives here. They have these 2 bigger gardening plots. Again, the chess table, the little Zen garden, and they have a few smaller gardening plots as well, which I thought was really nice. They could grow like garlic and other ingredients that they might use all the time. I've got some bags of like fertilizer and soil, and I just wanted it to look as though that's exactly how it functioned. You know, I didn't want it to look as though they didn't really establish a life here. Do you know what I mean? Now, the apartment is pretty small as well. It's only a 1 bedroom. So I was thinking maybe it's just like a couple who are carrying on their family's legacy and they don't have children yet, or maybe they're not planning on having children. It's really whatever you all feel is appropriate for whatever family dynamic you want here. And then outside, we do have a bigger table. Now, one thing I will mention is I did not put a kotatsu in this build, not even in the apartment, because it was just a struggle with how small everything was. But you could, of course, swap out any tables you'd like, add a kotatsu, add an overhang out here if you want. It's whatever you feel fits the build. I tried to take some traditional elements, but I wasn't able to adhere to all of them, if that makes sense. Like the bathroom up in the apartment as well, the toilet and the shower and things like that aren't separated as they typically would be. And I just wanted to make note of that because when I do try to build in Mount Como, I try to adhere to a lot of those different elements, but I wasn't really able to do it here because it's so small. But you can see that we're working on the interior. So through that kind of blocked off screened door is where the chef station is. And then there's, like I mentioned, just 2 little seating areas here in the inside. So if it is raining, that was kind of my main thing. If it was snowing or raining, your Sims wouldn't be stuck sitting outside. Though, of course, if those tables are already spoken for when your Sims arrive, they might be stuck outside anyway. So I certainly tried, but it might not be perfect. I don't know. Hopefully you guys still like it. But we are still working on the interior, trying to find a way to fill the space without it being way too overcrowded. And I ended up making sure that there were at least 2 chairs at each table. And then I just kind of put this little decorative statue over there in the corner. There are, of course, some of these different posters from Snowy Escape, and I did change the color of the lighting in here because I was picturing the bar that we got with the pack that shipped with it and how it had different lighting and it was kind of a karaoke bar. This isn't really that, but I do have some wall speakers, so there will be music playing, which I thought was really nice. And then I think I changed the overhead light in this little indoor area here to like, I think it's pink or purple, which looked really cool in my opinion. There's also 1 bathroom for the shop itself, and it's just the toilet and the sink. It is not exclusive to employees only or patrons. It's for everybody. Could get a little bit busy, but I thought it was the best way to kind of use this space, and bathrooms are typically necessary. There might be one out in the neighborhood here, but I think I checked and I don't believe there was, so I wanted to make sure. But now we are working on the apartment. So this is the 1st floor. The bathroom is on the 1st floor. It made the most sense to me. I just wanted it to be readily accessible. And this is going to be the combined kitchen and living space, which was really hard because it's such a small, cramped space. And I really didn't know how to lay it out. I just knew that the kitchen would be probably better suited to the corner over here. I love all of the light too that just floods into this space. And please don't mind, I hope the camera didn't make you sick there. It's so weird. I know that I think there's a mod that will stop the camera from like going nuts like that when you're at different heights. Correct me if I'm wrong, or if I'm correct. If you have the link, drop it down below, or I'm just gonna go search for it. Either way, I don't know. I think there's a mod that will help with that or something because it drives me nuts, and working with a 3-story building like this really made it difficult. But I'm trying to use the tool mod here to move some of these objects farther into the window. but it was really, really difficult to do. It was really challenging. So they're right on the cusp, but I still think it works. It still looks decorative and I think really nice. So I put a little plant there, just a little teapot, some other little jars and things. And then this is what's a little bit less traditional, I would say, is because I didn't think I was going to have room for a kotatsu, nor did I think I was going to have enough counter space for your Sims to actually cook meals. I added the bar height countertops over here, and I end up using some bar stools. So that's the dining area in the apartment. I was a little bit disappointed with myself. I really wanted to have a kotatsu in here. I wanted it to be a little bit more traditional, but I think this was the only way for me to feel comfortable utilizing the space in a way that made functional sense, I suppose. I'm also using these cutting boards to kind of close in these cabinets, because one thing that I don't like about the Snowy Escape cabinets is that they're all open. It's a little bit much, so I wanted those to kind of look a little bit more closed off. And this is where I did pull out the kotatsu, but then we didn't have the space for a proper living space. I suppose I could have kept it like this using the tiny living TV, bookshelf, radio combination thing, but I didn't want your Sims to just be sitting on the floor or on those cushions all the time. So I did get rid of it. I added this little love seat couch, and then I was able to just kind of place a TV on the opposite wall right next to the entrance to the bathroom. Again, an awkward setup, but you know what? This is a cramped apartment. It's going to be a little bit awkward. It's not going to be perfect, and hopefully you all don't mind. I didn't really mind. When I was playtesting it, I actually really enjoyed kind of toying around with things and seeing how my Sims would navigate. As always, my builds are play-tested, so my Sim was able to access everything. What was a bit odd, and I will be transparent here, I don't know, my Sims have been they've been making very interesting choices as to where they're going to prepare meals or wash their hands. I mean, I guess what else is new? But my Sim decided to take some of the ingredients, go downstairs onto the chef station to like mix things into a bowl. So like not actually using the chef station, just using it as a countertop, which was really odd. And then came back upstairs and used the oven, which I thought was like the weirdest thing on the face of the planet. I've never had a Sim do that before, but there is an open countertop for them to use. So that was unusual to me. I don't know. Sims are just making their own choices now, and I'm not a huge fan. I have autonomy off, okay? Like I am in control here. Anyway, okay, so we are putting some blinds on the windows. And that little wardrobe with the Dream Home Decorator, like little cube organizer things that I put at the bottom of the stairs, I was really afraid that it was going to block access to the stairs, but it didn't. My Sim was able to get through it as well as use that clothing rack as a wardrobe, which I was so thrilled with. It made me so happy. And that was really helpful, I think. One thing that I've been trying to do lately is add one of those wardrobes near the front door, because then for the sake of realism, you could actually have your Sim like click on it and maybe change into their winter gear or their hot weather clothing or something before they leave the house, instead of them changing the second they get outside. Do you know what I mean? It seems more like a coat rack, and I really enjoy it. But I'm also cluttering up the kitchen here with some of these open shelves, because I think adding clutter like this with open shelves is, I don't know, it makes it feel very realistic and very lived in. Then we get to work on the bathroom, which, like I mentioned, does not have the separated like bathing area and toilet area, but I did use that little tiny space to use the open shower, which I thought was really nice. I used a platform just to kind of make it a little bit different, but again, this isn't very traditional in regards to the setup, so I just want to acknowledge that. I don't know why, I just keep repeating it because, again, I try to go as traditional as I can with what we have in game. So hopefully you guys understand. But this is going to be the one and only bedroom as well. There were so many windows that it was difficult to decide how I was going to lay this out. And the staircase is kind of fairly open, so I ended up putting the bed over here. I do use, I think it's this base game blind. I think I use them for all of the windows just to kind of change things up. I had a rug. There is just a single dresser. I used the one from Discover University, which seemed odd to me when I placed it down, but it did work because I didn't want to block the windows. And then I just added a standing mirror as well as an armchair. And then out on the little balcony, I just add 2 chairs. I think there's 2 gardening pots as well. And that's pretty much it. There aren't that many decorations in the bedroom, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. I cannot wait to hear your thoughts, and I will catch you next time I post a video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.